Hello everyone, welcome back my students to another video of your online sessions. Today we're gonna take Unit 8, Lesson 8, the reading lesson called, the title called Food, the Final Frontier. Okay, today's objective, we're gonna learn how to scan the text for information or make inferences about the text. Okay, but before we begin reading the lesson, I want to introduce some vocabulary for you. Here we have frontiers, which a line or a border separating two countries, or the extreme limit of understanding or achieving in particular area. Okay, I want you to look at this. This is called the border. This is Egypt, and this is Egypt borders. This is also called the frontier. Okay, I want you to imagine Egypt as like a knowledge. You can't, like, this is the final limit of the knowledge we know today. Like, the final thing we know is space and planets, and we made spaceships and we landed on Mars, and this is the final thing we reach, but we don't know, we can't pass this limit. This limit is expanding. So frontiers means limit or a boundary, or means border that separates two countries. Okay. Second word we have is crumbs. Okay, a crumbs is a small fragment of red cake or a cracker, a very small amount of something. So this is called a crumb. You see these little things that fall off food when we eat. This is called crumbs. Okay. Astronaut is the person who traveled to space. You already know that. A gravy is a sauce made from cooked meat, juices together with the stock and other ingredients. Okay, so basically gravy is a type of sauce that is made out of meat. Tube is a long, hollow cylinder of metal, plastic, glass. Okay, like a toothpaste tube. Okay, so this container that has a toothpaste in it, it's called a tube. Okay, it's called what? A tube. A cube is basically a square but in a 3D, so it's a symmetrical three-dimensional shape, either solid or hollow, contained by sexual squares. Okay. Gelatin is you know what jelly is. This is made out of gelatin. So jelly is basically a gelatin, but it has some taste and some colors on it. So gelatin itself is colorless and tasteless. It doesn't have any color or taste. Okay. Float is different from fly. Okay, you can say I float on water, but you can say I fly on water. Also, floating in the air is different than flying, because when you fly, you control your speed and the direction you go in, but when you float, you don't. You just float. You can't move to right or left or up or down. Because you can't control your body. This what happens to you when you go to space. You can't control the movement like a bird does when he flies, but you move very hard and difficult. So move or hover slowly and lightly in a liquid or in the air. As I said, the float also can be in the water. The equivalent of it means drift. Okay, it's the synonym of float. Equipment means tools. We already took this word before. Anything that is needed, or an item that is needed or necessary for something, is called an equipment. Okay. A grocery store also means a supermarket, the store that sells food and household supplies in it. Okay. Teriyaki is a famous Japanese fish. Okay. A Japanese meal, I mean. It consists of meat and fish. Okay, it's also marinated in soy sauce. Okay, so it's basically drowned in soy sauce. Flour tortilla is a kind of bread, okay, made out of wheat, a fine wheat. Okay, so this is basically a bread. You know the crepe? Everybody knows what a crepe means. You know, like crepe bene or whatever you want to call it. This is similar to the bread of a crepe. Okay. Spotless, it means without any spots. Okay, it also means clean. You remember when I told you, when you see less in a word, it means without the word. Okay, so when you say spotless, it means without any spot. Bagless, without any bags. Okay. Hairnet You know what doctors wears on their head, so their hair won't fall down and contaminate the area. Is a piece of fine, fresh fabric of confining the hair. It basically doesn't let the hair fall down and pollute everything. Okay. Apron is a protective or decorative cloth worn over the front of one's clothes and tied on the back. This is basically what you wear when you go to the kitchen. Okay. A bathtub. Everybody knows what a bathtub means. This, you can find this in the bathroom. Okay. Let's go to the student book and see what we have here. I want you to open in page 96. Okay, I'm gonna help you answer these questions first. Look at the title. What do you think the text is about? You can answer this one by yourself. Look at the picture. What kind of food is it? You can look at the picture. I can see like potatoes, chicken, vegetables. Okay, find as many food words as you can. You can pause the video and think as many food words as you can, like vegetables, like fruits, like bread, anything related to food. Okay, read the text quickly to find out the problem with food in space. So when you read the text quickly, you just read like, try to find what the problem is. Like 20 years ago, these food might sound good, but they didn't look good. So this is the first problem. The food didn't taste good or look good in space. They came out of a tube. Imagine, okay. Another choice that astronauts, small cubes, these cubes are covered in gelatin, there was no crumbs. Okay, so this is the second problem. These cubes were covered with gelatin, so that were no crumbs. You can't have crumbs in the spaceship because they float in the air and sometimes they float into the equipment. So the second problem is food in the spaceships used to have crumbs, and if the crumbs went into the equipment, it ruins it. Okay. Okay. So now we're gonna try to read this lesson. 40 years ago, astronauts eat things like mushroom soup or orange and pineapple juice, coca chicken with gravy, pears, strawberries, and beef with vegetable. So this was what astronauts used to eat in the past. Okay, these food might sound good, but they didn't look good. They all came out of tube. Imagine eating a chicken that looks like toothpaste. Yeah, that sounds sucks. Another choice that astronaut had in the early days was small cubes of food. Okay, these cubes were covered with gelatin, so that there were no crumbs. You can't have crumbs in a spaceship because they float in the air and sometimes they float into the equipment. So when early astronauts got hungry, they had to choose between tubes or cubes of food. Space food is different today. Now the astronauts eat food you can buy in the grocery stores around the world. One of their favorite is chicken teriyaki. They can't have bread because of the crumbs, so they eat it with the flour tortillas. The chefs who cook for the astronauts have to make sure that everything is spotless. All the cooks, they wear masks, gloves, hairnets, and aprons. Sorry about that. The kitchen looks very different from the one in your home. Their spoons are more than a meter long and their pots are bigger than a bathtub. Okay? I don't know what's wrong with my mouse. Now you know astronauts' favorites: macaroni and cheese, smoked turkey, candy coated with chocolate, shrimp cocktail, and steak. This is the favorite food for astronauts. So don't forget that because you're gonna need that in your homework. Okay, let's take a look at the language activity book. I want you to open on page 81. Okay. Name 4 things that astronauts used to eat. Remember, it was in the beginning of the passage, so you're gonna look at the passage and write 4 things that astronauts used to eat in the past. Okay, what does the chicken look like? You're also gonna find this in the first page. It's easy. Which 2 foods make crumbs? I'm gonna help you answer this one. So I think bread makes crumbs. Broccoli doesn't. It's a kind of vegetable. It doesn't leave crumbs. Cookies does, and the chicken doesn't. Okay, so gonna put an X also here. Okay. What are crumbs problem in spaceship? You can answer this by yourself. If you read the passage, you would totally understand what it means. What kinds of food do astronauts eat today? You also can answer this by yourself. You find it in the second page. What do they eat instead of a bread? They also mentioned this in the second page. Look and answer. Why do the cooks wear masks, gloves, hairnet, and aprons? I'm gonna help you answer this one. Sorry about that. So why do you think cooks wear masks? To keep everything healthy. I think this is a good answer. If you wanna have a different answer, that's fine. Why do you think their spoons and pots are so big? You can think of this answer by yourself. I want you to like brainstorm yourself and think hard. Why do they need big spoons and big pots in order to make the food for a spaceship? Name 3 of the astronauts' favorite food. If you remember, at the end of the passage, there was a little box we read in the end. You're gonna write 3 things from that box. Okay? So we have finished our lesson today. Let's recap. What did we learn from it? We learned how food is cooked for astronauts. We know how astronauts used to eat in the past. We now know what's the problem with food in space and what kind of food they eat today. Okay? So here's the assessment question. You can answer this question in order to know if you understand the lesson or not. What's the problem with food in space? Feel free to send your answers on Scholaria. Okay, and as for the homework and practice, you have the student book page 96, 97 and language activity book page 81. You also can find this PowerPoint file on the content section in Scholaria. If you have any questions, feel free to communicate with me and I'll try my best to answer all the questions. Thank you and see you next time.